or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm doing a bunch of bulk cooking. I am trying to restock the freezer after we had our house move. And so today I'm making meatballs. We're doing a bunch of sweet potatoes. I'm gonna make some beef and beef broth, chicken and chicken broth, combining them together to make a hybrid. And then of course the cleanup that comes along the way. But this is going to stock our freezer with a bunch of food, so it makes for really easy weeknight meals. Let's go ahead and jump in. First, I'm gonna start on my meatballs, and I'm just gonna take a couple of pans here, put some aluminum foil and then parchment paper on top of that. It just makes it for a little bit easier cleanup. And then as far as the ingredients go for this, I'm doing 3 pounds of meat. So I have 1 pound of venison and 2 pounds of local grass-fed ground beef. And I'm gonna put those into a big bowl. Now, typically when you think of meatballs, you think you need a binder, right? You need some breadcrumbs and egg and all of that. I literally just do meat and spices. That's it, and they work out great. So I've got a little bit of salt, a little bit of garlic powder, and a little bit of Italian seasoning. If I could give you exact measurements, I would. I'd say about a teaspoon of each maybe. And then I'm going to form these into golf ball size shapes, put them on the parchment lined baking pan and bake them at 400 degrees for about 24 minutes. And I flip the pans halfway through. So at 12 minutes, I just flip them. I had 2 pans here. So they come out so nice and golden brown and delicious. They work great in any recipe that you would want to have a meatball for. So now I'm gonna go ahead, now that my oven is available, work on my sweet potatoes. So I'm just gonna give them a quick rinse under the faucet, cut off the ends and peel off the skin. And you can cut these in any shape you want. I like to do French fry shapes, but rounds, cubes, it all works. And I'm gonna cut them nice and long here, and just like the meatballs, I'm gonna put them on a parchment lined baking pan. So what I typically do with these as far as cook time, I bake them at 425 degrees for 25 minutes total, and I flip the pans halfway through. You can't really divide 25 by 2, so I do about 13 and 12 minutes, and that's all I do. All I put on them is a little bit of avocado oil for my sprayer here, and I'm gonna sprinkle them with a little bit of salt. And that's it, and they will do a great job of baking up. So while those are in the oven, I'm gonna get my roast in my Instant Pot number 1. This is about a 3.5 pound bone-in roast. So kind of stuffing it into my Instant Pot, just putting in a bay leaf, about a cup of water, maybe a cup and a half, and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This is gonna seem like a long time, but I'm gonna do manual high pressure for 120 minutes because I do want to have some stock out of that as well, and it makes it super tender. So my sweet potatoes are done. So I'm gonna pull those out and put those in a Pyrex dish to get them ready to go in the refrigerator. We love to eat cooked and cooled sweet potato because they have good resistant starch, great bacteria food for your gut. So and they're delicious too. I love them that way. So Instant Pot number 2, I have drumsticks in the Instant Pot. I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze in the juice of half a lemon and put in about a cup of water maybe, and a little bit of salt. So once I have that in manual high pressure for 28 minutes, I'm just trying to cook the chicken there. Fast forward, when the meat is done, it is so tender and delicious. I'm gonna stick that in a Pyrex dish to put in the freezer for meals later on. And I'm gonna keep keep the bones and the stock in the Instant Pot for when my chicken is done. Look at that, my chicken's done. So I'm just gonna take the meat off of the bones there. Similar idea, put in a Pyrex dish so it's ready to go for meals later on. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna combine the bones and the broth from the chicken with the bones and the broth from the beef. And then this is gonna make a really nice meat bone broth. Adding a little bit of water to cover the top of the very tip top of the bones there. And then because the chicken didn't have apple cider vinegar, just 1 more glug right in there. Once again, manual high pressure for 120 minutes. And that will help really pull out the good gelatin and the good minerals and everything from those bones. Plus, the stock together, it just tastes super delicious. So I'm gonna take this time that I have to start cleaning up around me because I feel like chaos when there's dishes everywhere and I just want to try to catch up with it. And then I also, because I've been dealing with meat here and meatballs and all the things, I want to spray my counters down with the Thieves Household Cleaner. It does a great job of getting all of that meat juice off my counters because I don't do meat juice. So it's a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and strain off the broth from the bones for my meat stock into this bowl here. And then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator overnight to cool. That's going to allow the fat to raise to the top. I'll scrape that off and freeze it. And then I'll be able to put all of the stock or the bone broth into mason jars and put those in the freezer. So you can see this is the next morning. Everything is solidified. That is some jelly looking broth there. That means we've got some really good gelatin, which is great for our bones and our nails and all the different things, gut lining and all of that. Putting it in the mason jars, gonna stick it in the freezer so I can pull that out for easy soups later on this week or next week. And there we go. That is my big old batch cooking, and I like to do this once a week. It helps me stay nice and prepared and on top of things. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't already and you'd like to, hit that button down below, subscribe so you never miss a new video. Do some bulk cooking because it will really save you time in the long run. See you in the next one. Ciao.